YouTube, what's good? In this video, we're going to be breaking down how to create this grid effect, or I don't really know what to call it, but we're going to be creating this effect that I saw in this Draft Day music video. I thought it was one of those effects that you can use, especially if you're going for more of like that clean, minimal style, and you're not trying to go too crazy for the VFX of your music videos. If you're new to the channel, I'm Danny. I run the Motion Visual Shop where I create editing packs and presets for video editors. So if that's something that you're interested in, I'll have the link down in the description. With all that being said, let's get right into the video. Okay, so here in After Effects, I have this hard rock effect pulled up, and the first thing we're going to do is create those shape layers. And the reason why we're going to be creating shape layers is because we're going to be using that in order to create the track matte, so that we can create that like grid effect. It's gonna make a lot more sense once we actually get into it. So let's first begin by creating a shape by grabbing the rectangle tool and make sure that the color is white. Also going to turn off the video layer for now. So the way that we're going to do this is first open up the proportional grid, and I'm going to create 4 squares in the middle. Make sure to hold the shift button, left click, and just drag your mouse so that you can create a perfect square. And I'm going to have that like right there, and then we're going to duplicate that layer, bring that over here, and then duplicate it 2 more times so that we can bring them all to the center like this. And just make sure that the middle is empty because we want certain parts of this grid to be transparent. So I'm going to actually align these squares a little better. So mine isn't going to be perfect because I'm just creating this for the tutorial, but of course if you were to create this, you want to make sure that yours looks better than mine. So the next thing we're going to do is create a new null object, and I'm going to connect all 4 of these shape layers to that null object. Then we're going to duplicate all of these layers. So we're going to be creating a lot of layers because we want this to be all over the composition. And then just grab the null object and just move that over here. So it's almost as if we're creating a grid pretty much. And you just want to keep doing that. Make sure to grab all the layers, including the null object, and just keep duplicating it until you fill out the composition. And you want to do it in a way where it creates this pattern. So as you guys can see, my entire composition is completely filled out with these squares. So once you duplicate all of those layers, we're going to grab all of them and pre-compose them. I'll just name this layer to square. Now we have this grid where the white boxes are going to be the ones that have the effects on it, and then everything else is just going to be transparent. So let's turn on the video layer on, and I'll just rename this to main, because that's going to be the main layer. And then duplicate this layer. This one's going to be the one where we apply the effects. So let's just rename this to track matte because we're going to change that one. And then go to the toggle switches and modes, turn on the track matte to square. What that does is just turn off that other layer, and whatever effect that we apply onto this track matte layer is going to show up on our footage. The first effect we're going to add is a Gaussian blur. For this effect, let's really increase the blurriness. I want this to be like really intense. I'll just increase that to 50. And now when we look at this clip, as you guys can see, it only affects the areas with the white squares. Next thing we're going to do is add the transform effect. For this one, let's just turn up the scale just so that it looks a little different from the actual normal clip. This is what we have for the effect so far. So what I'm going to do is actually increase the scale for the square layer. Let's just increase that. 113% should look good. And that just kind of offsets the track matte layer, which makes the effect look better. Final thing we're going to do is pre-compose all these layers together, and I'll just name that to effect, create a new solid layer. So click Ctrl Y and make sure that the color is white. We're going to be using this layer for the background. Open up the scale for this effect layer and then just decrease that so that we can see the background solid layer. 90% should look good. This is the final effect. I really like the way that looks. It looks really clean and simple. Thank you for watching. If you guys found this video helpful, make sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video.